Hello and welcome to episode 29 of our Timberborn 1.0 Waterbeavers playthrough, cycle 28, day 13, on the precipice of a new season here. And like I always say, we have a lot to do, plenty to get into, and we're going to talk about that in just a moment here once we start this drought. But outside of that, we do have the ENS churning out degrees. We have all sorts of things that have been improved in the most recent episodes. And now we have 7 days to think about how we are going to get more water to fill back up this area. And there's a couple of good suggestions, gotta close this so I can actually see, you guys have left in the comments, and maybe the one that I like the most is to eventually come over here, get access to this clean water seep and all the other clean water, and then utilize these, I have to figure out exactly where the aqueduct pieces are. Have to remember. But long story short, you can use the giant, they're not giant sequoias, they're golden sequoias now. But you can use these to make very large platforms that are, well, aqueducts. And I think it would be cool to have some water coming from here over to this area, dumping in here, deep in this, so on and so forth. You know the drill. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds. But one of the things that we really need to do today, in order to get ourselves in a little bit of a better position, is to finally unlock and begin building the mechanical drills. And to do that, we are going to have a clockwork robotic controller. And that is something, no, don't do that yet. That is something that we have to make in the ENS. Right now we're making science, and you know, science is good to have, but we are going to have to swap over. And we need to make sure we have all these supplies. I think we're probably good to go. And cursory examination says we are. So, we are going to begin making clockwork robotic controllers. And give ourselves a little storage for those. I believe those go in a glorious storage, but we're going to check. I see. Yes. So, we'll just make this nice and easy for ourselves and pop a couple of these right there. Set for clockwork robotic controllers. And we don't have processors yet, but it's going to be a good idea to go ahead and get this put down because I guarantee you I am going to forget. So they will get to work on that, and when we actually have the clockwork robotic controllers, we can start the process. But remember that they have to be powered, and they take 400 HP each. So ideally these need to be somewhere connected into our general network, or they need to be somewhere we can exploit with the help of water wheels or not flywheels, that's a different thing. Gravity batteries. Speaking of things that have to do with power, I did finally give in and install the power shaft extension mod at the behest of our beloved mod creator himself. And we have a lot of these really cool options to get to. Of course, we have to research them. But if you are a longtime viewer of the channel, you might remember that this is a battery smooth mod. And what this does is, well, it puts power shafts underground if you use the tunnels. If you use the bridges, it puts them above ground. So it's really useful in situations like what we found ourselves dealing with over here, to not have to overbuild everything. But you do pay a cost for it. That's not something we can really afford right now. So we'll keep that in the back of our minds as we continue going about our business. Since we are here... Oh, dead beaver. A couple of you said that you wanted me to move this farmhouse back so we could plant some other things. And, you know, for the most part, I think that is a good idea. But I would like to try, since it's going to be a while before we deepen this anyway, I would like to try putting another farmhouse here instead. Because what that would allow me to do, to have almost the same amount of reach. We're just losing about 8 of these plants. If I put this here and I remove this farmhouse, we could actually plant stuff here that would be very useful, like additional sunflowers. And we also have the ability, if we click on this real quick, the large farmhouse, with the help of our beloved zip lines, grants us quite a few areas with pretty good access. And if we were to utilize those effectively, if I find empty spaces, we could actually plant pumpkins, or these incredibly tall bamboos, or anything like that, and I think that would be wise. We've already done something like that over here, and there are some more pumpkins that we do need to plant. We'll keep up with that. just keep that in the back of your mind as we are going about our business. I think for right now, this is probably an okay setup. Not a great one, but it's an okay one that will work for the time being. These chestnut trees, at least one or two of you said should be removed in favor of having pumpkins here, and you know that's not a bad idea. I'm not against that, but I do want to make sure that if we are going to be using the tree nursery for such purposes that can actually reach everything, you know, it actually looks like that might be viable. Might be viable. And when I said pumpkins, I meant not pumpkins. We already talked about pumpkins. This is something different. The stuff that the tree nursery can actually access, like domesticated brambles, or unbelievably tall bamboo, or grapes, or blueberries. So since we have the chestnut trees that can go almost anywhere, we might as well, if we're going to truly commit to using more of these, which we probably should, we probably need to just keep on putting more stuff over here, blasting this out, so on and so forth, as one does. And we do have the ability to do this. It's just going to take a lot of dynamite and a lot of time. So for that reason, I do think it would be a good idea for us to utilize this for stuff that is unique, specifically to the tree nursery. We will see. We will get there in due time. We do have our first can't even use words, clockwork robotic controller. Another one at 29%. We need to identify a location like I briefly spoke of earlier. And if we're going based on the existing power network, we do have, that's the wrong building, we do have methane engines over here connected up to everything, and it looks like our total... Why is this not running? Oh, because there's no demand. Anyway, this is supposed to put out 1,000, so I guess it's just because nobody is actually drawing anything. It's not being used. But point is, this is going to generate quite a bit of power that we could use. It wouldn't be a bad thing to stick anything over here. However, this entire half of the map is, well, I won't say it's uncorrupted because there's bad water absolutely everywhere. But for our purposes, this is actually a really good opportunity for us to make use of the geography with all the vertical faces. And if you're not familiar with how these work, they have a pretty large hitbox, and they must be in the side of a cliff. And there is a power connection on the side that actually allows these to be chained together. You just have to have it in the correct orientation so, you know, it'll go into the side of the cliff. You do have the ability, if you, for some reason, want to go through the trouble to do this, just to demonstrate that this works in a spot where they are not actually going to attempt it, you can, against maybe all possible forms of wisdom, get away. Well, it's not going to let me do it right here because I don't have enough space, but you apparently can get away with doing this if the entire 3x3x3 block is actually all synthetic terrain and nothing else. So, you know, do what you want, but that's not going to be what I'm doing here. I think it's going to make sense, even though this has not been emptied. It will not be for a long time. We're just not going to go through it that fast. I do think it will make sense for us to try and do something over here. Now, these give us coal and they give us iron ore. They also give us dirt and they give us waste rock. Right now, we don't really need to have iron ore and coal for a lot of this stuff because, well, we have a ton of scrap metal already. And a lot of the recipes we're using don't really call for that much. But the really appealing thing about these drills, in my opinion, is getting the dirt, because dirt is a very useful thing. Waste rock, not so much. And hello, autosave. The only really, you know, endorsed way to get rid of the waste rock is, of course, with the trebuchet, which must be researched, and does consume rope as well. 10 pieces of waste rock every hour get destroyed by the trebuchet, get launched into oblivion, and one of these mines every 6 hours produces 20. So if we have one of each for coal and iron ore, which in my experience, you don't really want to just have one of each. You're going to need maybe 2 or 3 of one and slightly fewer of the other, depending on what you're doing. But we're going to need a lot of trebuchets, or we're going to need a lot of storage for waste rock, or there's going to have to be some other, you know, method of using waste rock, and I don't know that there is. I admittedly have not really tried Let's see if Tool Finder will help. Because we know nothing shows up for waste rock. Okay. What about just rock? No? Alright, well, is what it is. Point being, I think this is going to be the best possible place we can stick one of these things. It's not really going to be the best option, but it's the option that we have. So continuing through our quest to get this area kind of set up more appropriately, I was, I guess we can say, kindly notified that it would be a stupid idea to try and put water wheels up on top of these platforms here, and instead, what I should try doing is using the 2 high levees, because that is, to quote our beloved mod creator, what this is for. So, if we are going to do this, remember that this is currently a drought cycle, so this is already about a 2/3 of a block lower. I would want that to be based on maybe this spot right here. And if, of course, we're going to have 2 wheels, I will need some space on the bank here to do what we're trying to do. And I don't know that that side is going to be the best way to do it. So if we put the wheels on this side, we want to have 4 of them. I think I figured out I can make 4. Yeah, without moving this, we can put 4 in. We are going to need to create some sort of means by which all of these things can be mounted, which, of course, doesn't matter if they don't touch the bottom. They just have to have the peak flow rate go right through the lower part of the wheel. All of this to say, 150 science. Stick this thing right about here. And, you know, you can't stack these. So I, oh, I'm gonna get yelled at for trying this. Okay, so that does not work. I thought that might work. But the reason we'd want to do this instead of, you know, blasting something out is the levees actually block water, so this will force stuff through the wheels instead of just passing blindly behind. And we can, of course, on top of this, put a platform, and then on top of that platform, put the center of the wheel, and it will still... You'll get most of the benefit of blocking the water. So I will be continuing to stick this 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. So we're going to stick that there, and then that is going to give us, you know, once we unlock everything, the ability to get this here and this here, 1 block higher, of course. So we will need to blast this out, and then everything else can sit at a height of our choosing. This is just what we can do with this right now. It doesn't have to be like this forever. But you and I both know it's probably going to stay like that for a long time. So in terms of the amount that we want to blast out, I think 3 is going to be about what we want. Yeah, I just had to check that height real quick so I don't make any completely irredeemable mistakes. Then we get that done, and then if I want the wheel to be at this height, which I think is probably what I want, since this is the exit, that is going to mean that this is going to have a single platform on top, and this is going to have a double platform on top. Is it ideal? No, but it's better. It's going to be alright. It's not going to be the end of the world, and we can always rebuild it, so don't worry. That, I believe, during a bad tide is going to generate a prodigious quantity of power. During a temperate cycle, still probably going to be pretty good. But no matter how much it generates, it's almost certainly going to be enough to run at least 1 drill. And we can figure out at a later time how to actually get this set up. I imagine we're going to want to prioritize, just for the purpose of using land space, getting this out of here. We will see what ends up making the most sense. Right now, I just need to get some sort of stuff started on this. So this has predictably been pumped completely dry because, as a couple of you pointed out, and rightfully so, I did not automate these correctly. Instead, these only turn off when this exit pump thing is set, which is currently a not gate set to bad Gary, which means if bad Gary is not on, then the relay is on. And bad Gary only turns on when it is a bad tide, and it is not a bad tide. So Yeah, we pumped this completely dry. The rice is going to die unless we artificially irrigate. These sunflowers are probably going to be okay. And, actually, we have, for just such an occasion, put a floodgate dam in here that I'm going to lower to 1. But, because this is a situation that I'm trying to preserve the crops, I am going to pause. Look at all these in the middle of the night. Yeah, go somewhere else. I just need to pause this until I can automate them correctly. So, these need to be on when it is not a bad tide and not a drought. So what I could do is I could keep these automated to this exit pump thing. Or what I could do, since I only have the one weather station right now, and there's multiple things that I do not want to mess with, like these floodgate dams here, which I think somebody mentioned. I know I'm jumping around. I'm trying my best. Somebody mentioned that this should not be down, but it is still automated for bad tides to go all the way up. I think it's probably not the worst thing ever for this to be down, because we want this to fill a little bit faster. So we'll take a look at it. I'm not, super happy with how this is set up, but for now it seems like it's working okay. We got a lot of injured beavers that I just now am noticing. Well, we'll get there. We'll get it all figured out. But point being, we need more weather stations. But the best I can do right now, without having another thing upon which to build one, is to just kind of manually do this with the knowledge that eventually we're going to want to have another weather station when we have the ability to do so. So we do have a couple of options in this regard. As some of you noted, this zipline station could be expanded upon with the help of, in these spots here, another lumberjack's barn, and then on top of that, you can put a zipline station or a weather station, because they're basically the same model. I think I like that idea. I will say that does create a little bit of a logistical challenge, but I think it's probably worth doing. In that, yeah, that doorway is in. Yes, it's in the middle, so I will have to remove this other tree as well. And these are, we're running kind of low on logs, so I don't want to just rip these out, but these will not be replanted. And I do think I'm going to try to do that. And maybe make it a weather station. Who knows? Because this, as the base building, the zipline station, oh hey, it's me, is actually, how many of me do we have? Sorry, I have to check because now I'm curious. There's 2 of me. I knew it. One's doing slightly better than the other, working in the mine, versus the one working in the ENS. All right, well, make of that what you will. We have this ready to get exploded. K for kaboom. And now I know they can't get over here because we have these lovely, completely necessary warehouses in the way. So instead of deleting these, what I'm going to do is put ladders up to the top here, because we are going to want to stack these eventually, and this ladder will allow them to construct that. In addition to, do I want to play the game? I don't know that I do, because remember, Waterbeavers is 1,000 pieces of dirt to make a single terrain block. I really don't want to mess with that. Let's check. This is the improved water wheel fancy blueprint, and how many of those do I have? I have none? What? How is that possible? I have none of these. Do I really have to research this again because I made a mistake on... No, I have 33. Good. Good. I was about to be quite upset. I don't want to build these yet because logs. And we don't have a lot of logs. But I will place 2 of these paused. So that is what we're looking at, and I know it's not the most ideal setup ever, but it's going to be okay. Life will go on. The most important thing is that we have 4 of these, and this should generate... I gotta hide this so I can actually see. Waterbeavers problems. I need power. That's honestly just what it is. This also needs to be blown up. I did not think that was necessary, but I guess now that's going to happen. Once this goes in place, we can maybe think about putting in one of these mines, but I do want to check fitment. Yeah, this would be so great if I just had a little bit more dirt here. And it is 3 blocks tall, so I can't just use the levee to accomplish that. But what I have is I have 380 dirt right now. And to my knowledge, it's like that. Whatever happened to that Lamborghini guy? Was that a scam? Anyway, overhang walkway and a platform. If I am going to get away with this. Oh, yes. Ha ha ha. Yes, indeed, friends. Oh, I love it with my entire heart. Here we go. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to build this, and then the dirt that they, the dirt that they get from there is going to go here. That's going to become more dirt, and then guess what goes into that dirt? If you guessed thing that also makes dirt, then you win the prize. The prize, of course, is the satisfaction of knowing that you were correct. But no, I don't have enough money to give people. So this is this is going to be cool. And we can get power maybe not super conveniently through here. But it will work for the time being. And I believe we are going to be in decent shape. Now the question is, can I... Seriously? There is no reason it should allow me to do this. Well, cool. That's fine. That works. We'll just get this thing around here. That's going to give them plenty to work on. We'll let them keep on doing that. Crops have been saved. These, of course, like I said, will be removed in about 10 days' time, which I might forget by the time we get around to there. But I mentioned something about brambles. I wanted to check the tree nursery. Because I said something about range. Oh, yes. So, the range of the tree nursery means that these areas here could be, a good opportunity for us to plant domesticated brambles. Now, why would we want to do that? Well, domesticated brambles take 19 hours to grow, and they give you 2 bramble flowers. Regular brambles take a full day to grow, and they give you 1. So it is a more than twice as efficient method of growing these things. Now, they do still spread, just aggressively. But if we can have these corralled, like, say, up here, and then down here, or whatever, if we replace the wild ones with the domesticated ones, and we make sure they don't get out of control, then we will really boost our production, and we do need to boost our production. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have them clear cut all of these right here. And I know that we can't get all of these wild brambles to convert to these domesticated ones. But we can start. There's a very small amount right here. I think I'm just going to plant 1. And then unplant it so it spreads. And then eventually, this is set up in a way where they can't really get out of this area because this is too much of a drop. They can get down here, and then that could get down here. And that could get down here, but I don't currently have a way for them to get in. Anyway, point being, they're going to be, assuming we don't make a colossal mistake and let these things get absolutely everywhere, it's going to be possible for this to become a lot more efficient as a farm without being more irritating. And we can just clear cut absolutely every single one of these over here. But we will get there when we get there, K for kaboom. And I think we are going to have plenty to occupy us before that time. The second library, I've been told a couple episodes now, did not have enough beavers working in it. Now it does. I should check. There we go. Oh, I was told about dirt storage, not having enough dirt storage, and then I didn't check. So yeah, I only have 360 dirt storage, which, by the way, this is going to really require a lot of dirt storage. Yeah, I don't really have a great place for all these things to go, but I'm going to have to check. Oh, good. All right. This is going to just be the easiest thing for us to do here. That should not be that way. That should go that way. We'll stack a couple of these. We just need to have a storage in this general vicinity for dirt and for waste rock. And again, the easiest way to do this is to have a ladder. And to get the power over here, the easiest way to do this is to just come above all of this and start pre-building. Now, we don't need to build shaft bridges or anything that's a little complicated. But we can utilize this very easily. And I need to keep this open so we can actually, you know, use this space. But I think this is going to be worth getting taken care of. Do I want to... I'm going to keep this open in case we want to expand this, but I think this is going to be our best bet. I always want to click on the muscle memory. I'm telling you, man. That is going to be probably the right way to do this. Upward power shaft. There, and downward power shaft there. Same kind of deal. These platforms are cheap enough at this point where I don't think I need to be worried about wasting materials. I just need it to work. And that will get us off to a pretty good start. This here... might as well just stick another one down. Not that expensive. I'm going to keep this as a T intersection just because if we want it later, then we'll have it. And that will get this hooked up across here, and then we will need to have power shafts between, which that's the easiest way to do it. So once all of these wheels are built, this will allow us to do pretty much everything we wanted to do. They are waiting on, of course, they're waiting on logs. Everybody's waiting on logs. Well, this would be a great time for us to build that advanced sawmill now, wouldn't it? Except somebody just used a bunch of science to unlock stuff we can't really use yet. Oh, well. And the thing that is making all of our science is currently making clockwork robotic controllers, so we'll need to switch that back over. Now, this is still making science. Really slowly, but it's still making science. This is pumping 3.5 days left. This is absolutely going to be pumped completely dry. See, this is why we need this to be deepened, and it's why we need to get more water into it, no matter what. There's a bunch of comments on this that I was attempting to keep in my notes here. Somebody mentioned something about these pumps. I got so many things in here. I don't really see that. All right, well, we'll keep working on stuff. But this right here can easily be used to plant additional useful things, which I think for our purposes going to need to be sunflower seeds, not green peas. I am going to have this whole thing marked, even though it's not all, thank you, autosave, not all irrigated right now. It will be when the time comes. Let's just, you know, more stuff for these beavers to do. We may need to put another farmhouse in. I can't really put another one right here because of the location of the bridge. But I could always just replace this with stilts and take care of it that way. We just have stuff to do. We always have stuff to do. That's the way it goes. Okay, of course, logs. Logs, logs, logs. Everything is logs. We do have trees we can cut down that are kind of accessible. I'm not going to sit here and say that this is the best way to do this, because it objectively is not. But let's be honest, if you're still watching these videos, you've come to accept the way that I do things. Or you are very dedicated to telling me that I am wrong, which I guess is fine, but probably kind of fruitless labor on your part. Nevertheless, I am glad you are here. Even if it's to tell me that I'm bad at the game. Let's do this. Let's just mark all of these trees. And as they have time, they can come over and take care of it. I just have to make sure they have the ability to get between places. It's going to be faster to just do platforms And just put in stairs where it makes sense to put in stairs. I do like preserving access to different levels, which is why sometimes you'll see me put the stairs in maybe not the most logical position. That's not going to let me get through there, but in time it will. And of course, we can't actually do anything with these guys until we have a lumberjack flag or 3 in place. So what I will do is, yeah, see that will that'll reach all of those. They'll get there eventually, and we won't have to think too hard about it. As soon as I get 2,000 science, I definitely want to get the what do you call it? This thing, advanced sawmill. Let's get triple speed going. I don't know exactly where I want to put that, but I know it needs to be close to these golden sequoias, and I think based on how this is currently going, it would behoove us to have more storage for giant logs. I know that's more science that I really should be saving, but if we know it's going to be another, cycle or so, then it makes sense to spend the science now. Let them cut the trees down, let the trees regrow, and just move on from there. These only hold 5. They don't have to stay in this location that I'm about to place them. They just have to be accessible. So there's most likely going to come a time where we want to, put other stuff in other places. And of course, yes, these take logs that we don't necessarily have. They take screw press axles. Well, I probably shouldn't have put 4 of these things down then, should I? Well, that cat's already out of the bag. What was making these incredibly quickly? Was that the... There's one of these buildings that was going to do it really fast, and I can't remember what it was. It certainly was not these guys. Alright, tool finder. Do your thing. Screw press. Gnawing haul. Oh, the gnawing haul is actually not a bad thing. I know it's only a little faster, but that's decent. The assembly line. Yes, indeed. Here I go. I'm going to spend all the science again. But the assembly line is what I was thinking of. And of course, the Abyss with the Human Underground Factory operating team can make 3 of them in an hour. Well, that's really far away. Alright, let's do... Okay, the metal fast. Did put all 5 of these in this one already? Okay, well that can be the one that gets built. You know what? I can't have all of these sucked up all at once. They can come back and pick these, but I will take these 5. We'll make this for regular giant logs, and we'll just sustainably build out capacity as we have the ability to do so. Eventually. You know what? I need to prioritize these stairs, or this will never get built. Let's prioritize all of this. This will get us 100-ish logs, which is going to make a very big difference. I got almost 1,000 paper. That is... maybe I should automate this, but automation in this mod is a pain in the butt. So maybe we won't do that. I think for now... very, very dangerous to pause buildings in this. I kind of want to, because this is a little bit too much paper. This is still producing copies of the irrigated, elevated public bath, and now I have 100 of these that I did not want. Okay, well, I literally asked for that, so I can't be that upset about it, but that wasted a lot of paper. Planks? Planks are planks. Logs are logs. We're waiting very, very slowly, but hey, we're actually, in the process of getting this started, so that's good. And getting up to the top of this is a goal that I did have, so that's fine. Bad water seep, bad water source. So this is, as far as I know, the only clean water that comes out of here. We do have aquifers. And I should check before we get too far away. How many and where are they? I've got 1, 2, 3. None over here? Okay, I've got 3 aquifers over there that we could press into service. And none on this side. Okay, well. That's down in there. Where's that other one? I can't see very well. Alright, let's take this out. Come on. Come on. Where's O's in the corner? This one is here. And then that's there. Well, it's not an impossible task. I always forget where this is placed. Is it under dams? No. Is it under... like I feel like it has to be... But it's not platforms, because these are just the pillar bases. And, oh, here it is. Aqueducts, like I was saying, these are great. You have to obviously have the pillars, which are made out of the entire sequoia logs, and then the aqueducts themselves are built out of half-sawn sequoia logs with the addition of the firefly juice and all of these other things. So we're a pretty good ways away from this. But there's all sorts of different building blocks. We've got elbows, we've got long straights, we've got short straights, we've got T's, we've got dead ends, and then log bridges aren't part of aqueducts necessarily, but there's a lot of different modules that we can build to bring clean water all the way over here. They have clean cut so much of this. This is actually pretty good that we are going to be clean cutting as much of this as we are. Because I do want to replace these with the domesticated ones. So let's tree nursery, not the large farmhouse. I don't know why I get those confused. Got half a day. This is the only space I can actually plant domesticated brambles. So I'm going to do just 3 of these in this spot. We're going to let them spread uncontrolled because I know it can't get horribly bad from this spot. The rest of this we may need to, regulate a little bit. But these, like I said, they grow faster. It's what? 5 fewer hours, so that's a pretty decent increase, and it gives you twice as much. That cannot be overstated how useful it is. We've got how many? Okay, we've got like another 4 days left on that. And wow, they made quick work out of most of the rest of this stuff. Well, that's fine. That's how that goes. This is going to also require... is it going to be cheaper? No, it's going to be cheaper to just do this. Because remember, you always get the platform back because it's a single piece. So this is a pretty easy way to get stuff taken care of. And this will not be a very slow process to get that done. Anyway, it's now temperate season, and this water is coming right through here, which is what I wanted it to do this entire time. This is still manually paused, which honestly, for right now, is probably okay. This scavenger flag is paused because I didn't need it anymore. Or not paused, it's inactive. Now it's paused, and that beaver can go do something else. Yeah, I need to let this fill up a little bit more, and then I do need to raise that. They have not finished this because they are waiting for logs, which we've already discussed. They built that? Okay, good. And they're working on this. Looks like they just finished it. A long enough timeline, we will put actual solid ground here, but for now this is fine. These are not actually done, it just is showing them, but we're not, horribly far away from getting this done. Just need to let them do what they gotta do. This guy has nothing to do, so he can go somewhere else. I will put a staircase in here so that this guy can do that. That's decent access to these, but not fantastic. There is a relic here that could be demolished. I know we're kind of speed running getting into this area. I just need to make sure that I'm not going to poison my beavers. And this should help us sticking that thing right there. Get most of this. It seems like it's doing okay. Is this... okay, good. I'm going to put this back on science. Because we need the science. Alright. Remember that these are going to be harvested and then we're going to put other stuff in there. This is coming through now nicely. I'm going to put this back up to 1.65, which is where it was. And leave these alone. Our water storage is actually looking pretty good. This is refilling. These domesticated brambles are now able to be unplanted. And for this to work correctly, I'm going to have to unmark this area for cutting so they can spread. I do want them to go down and across this, but I need that one to be removed appropriately. And then if they go down here without being cut, they can also go down here. I just need to make sure that this is going to be appropriately dealt with. I need to unplant that. Unmark for planting, not unplant that. I do want them to get rid of these wild ones. Yeah, so now these are going to... Oh, look at that. They're... I'd say they spread like wildfire, but it might actually be faster than wildfire. Working on trees. I know I probably in the thumbnail for this episode have a picture of this going, but just... We need to be able to actually build this before I can actually build it, you know. So we've got these things here. I need to have at least one of these wheels, which this one is going to end up being the first. But we need the logs. So that's the driving force behind all of this. Okay, gotta mark these. Gotta mark those. Gotta mark those. That's the wrong thing. I should get rid of that because I don't want to think about that. Alright, staircase. Sure, let's just put that right there. This is accessible, this is accessible, these are marked, yes? Okay, this would be a better spot for us to put a bridge to get across, which they can't currently get to. But in due time, they will, once this goes around. Yes, I could have put another staircase here, but yeah, I don't really need to worry about that. I just want them to be able to cut absolutely everything that they want to cut. And this is the fastest way to do it. Zipline would be great. I'm not going to build one of those right now because that's a very easy way for me to get horribly, irrevocably distracted. Okay, these are going, these are going. This is a wild bramble seedling that needs to be destroyed. So that goes. This can also be destroyed. We know we have the ability to do that. And I've got 12 extra beavers. How many do I have? Oh, there's only 3. Okay, no. We can have a fourth. I just want this to spread down here. Look at that. Look at them go. Look at them go. This just make the little hop. Oh, there we go. Good job. Now just make it down here. Make your way down here. So I'm gonna have to... Yeah, I'm gonna have to have these guys down here to remove all of this. Which I believe they are gonna have the ability to do. Just need to make sure they have access into this. Yeah, because I really don't want to take any chances with the inferior ones. Even though I know we could use these for ingredients or whatever, these are going to just, once we start cutting, are going to be so much better. It's worth taking the hit right now to make sure that this will work. Just clear cut all of these in a way that we don't need to retain them. Yeah, because these can't jump down here, these can't jump up here, so they are separated. And this was already... Oh, those are wild. Those need to go away. So all my builder beavers can come and take care of that. I don't think it's going to be too big of an ask for that to happen because everything else is currently set up for them not to have much to do. This is all paused. 43 logs. How are we looking here? Okay, this is flooding now. So what that tells me is that I can unpause this. And eventually we will automate this to a temperate Gary. Good Gary, if you will. But I have to be able to build that. Okay, this has room now for more giant logs. These guys can be cutting. I am not sure that they will, because we've had issues with these. I've been told the right way to solve this problem is to unmark for cutting and then remark for cutting. Just the trees. So I suppose we'll see what happens. The most important thing here is that I remember I've done this. And we know that's not always the case. So I want to make sure. If those are marked. This, excuse me, is not. No, not that square. This one. This one. Please forgive this being absolutely visually horrifying because this is the only way I can think of to actually see in here. I love modified game assets that are completely outsized because it's always hilarious. There we go. I think I've got all of those marked. Yeah, and they're cutting, so I don't know, maybe it's just one of those weird idiosyncrasies you have to put up with to get the really cool stuff that this mod allows you to do. It's fine by me. Alright, those guys are going to be doing that. I've got 2400 science, which means that is going to allow me to unlock the advanced sawmill. In terms of resources to build this, we're looking okay. In terms of a location and power supply, we are not. I think that's going to have to be one of those things that we do over here, but because of the way that we have this power coming in, I don't think it would be impossible for us to get up here. It's just going to be annoying. So maybe we'll deal with that. This is continuing to spread unchecked as intended. These cannot reproduce because they are flooded. So these will just be manually removed. I do think, however, this is going to have to be... Is this a wild... No, we can't have that. Can't have that. That must be destroyed. I'm going to remove... I don't think it can get back down there anyway. I'm going to have to apply this cutting pattern up here because this is now, I think, mature enough to support regrowing. Then we can get more of those. Looking good. Okay, this guy's got nothing to do. What if I gave you a staircase? What would you say about that? 2%? That's fine. This is doing what it's got to do. This is almost out of space. Almost out of cutting that it can do, I should say. So maybe we'll have to investigate that. I know there's a bunch of different things going on that we really should be doing. I just have to decide what's going to make sense for me to do first. I have enough logs to build this, so I'm going to start the wheel. This is... Oh, yeah, we're about to the point where this is going to get cut down. These are growing up quite quickly. Lumberjack barn time. And that goes there. Before we go any further, I need to make sure that's facing the right way so I don't have another crash out. I believe that is the correct direction. So the upgrade for the weather station, I believe, is under... Yeah, it's under automation. Alright, so this is Good Gary. Good Gary activates during temperate weather only. And Good Gary is going to control all of these. Which means this will be paused until Good Gary is complete. But that will be good for me not to have to really think about it too hard anymore. And then we, by process of deduction, will have to have also a dry Gary. We're not there yet, but we will be at some point. This is probably fine to go ahead and get turned back up to... Yeah, we'll go 1 meter high. That should be alright, in case we need to do something about it later. But I want all this water to go this way instead, because this is currently being pumped. Alright, I see... Yes, domesticated brambles coming over here. And as a reminder, they cannot spread down here because they would be flooded, but during a drought or bad tide, they easily could, once this gets pumped down enough. But this is going to give us a much, much faster rate of acquisition on the bramble flowers. These wild brambles, I probably should go ahead and prioritize destruction of. Yeah, just because I don't want any more of the wild ones. They just need to all be completely removed. This is built. Hey, all right. A very healthy 750 to 775 HP. I will take it. And now I think it is time to start making this mechanical drill for coal. So what that's going to do is give us, well, coal. So I don't think either of these are set for coal, but I did want to check. Salt. Ah. See, we don't need this one to run coal anymore. I'm going to change this to saltpeter, because we are going through that quite quickly, and the storage is always empty. This, you know, it's going to take them a little bit of time to build it, I say as they've almost completed building it. But we now have, as soon as they can supply it with drill bits, a mechanical drill that will be functional. I should have built a storage for drill bits over here, and I don't have a great spot because you can't build anything on top of these. Okay, well, not having a good spot is really not a very good excuse, is it? So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put in a platform up here, and this can be where the glorious storage for drill bits goes, prioritized, of course. So, you're going to see very, very, very quickly that this is going to have some dirt and some waste blocks. Waste rock blocks. That's the wrong building. I'm just going to put a large industrial pile for coal in this area, and then also get the ladder to go up. Come on, click the right buttons. Alright, so that's working. They are immediately putting the dirt in this terrain block as I intended. And yeah, so waste rock, like I've said, is going to very, very, very quickly fill up, which means it is about to be trebuchet time. So, this would be a very convenient thing to put basically anywhere, but I'm going to make sure that this goes in a spot we can actually path around. You know, paying no attention to the actual trajectory of projectiles fired from the trebuchet. Please always pay attention to the trajectory of projectiles fired from your trebuchet, should you own one. But I think this will probably be fine. The arc is going to go above these. Not that there's any reason for us to really be concerned about it in the slightest. It's just one of those things. You know, you might as well take a little bit of extra effort to do that much more world building. Okay. That's done. Oh, I didn't give these guys a staircase. Well, well, well. I say as I've already gotten rid of the thing that can do that. Okay. That can reach almost all of those. That's going to be fine for now. Just getting our extra wood. This has no access because somebody didn't connect the path. Well, now that's fixed. Good Gary is active. And the lumberjack barn is active. And because it's on a zipline station, this can actually help out in a lot of other locations. Not really many of which are actually useful, but it's fine. This is now spreading across here as intended. This is fine. Let's just get this set correctly so I'm not going to have any huge problems. There. That will work out okay. It'll eventually, you know, spread far enough with that, and we don't have to worry about this at this exact moment. This is going fine. The too easy billboard needs to be rebuilt. I mean, strictly speaking, it might not, but where is the too easy? The poop emoji. Yes, of course. How could I forget? I can just go there. All right, this is actually clogged up with coal a whole lot faster than it clogged up with waste rocks. And this is being brought over. I guess that's fine. Yeah. Okay, I feel pretty good about this. This is still at 2%, but it doesn't matter because now I have the ability to do most of what I wanted to do. Alright, here's what has to happen. Now, remember, there's a reason why I had power shaft bridges and power shaft tunnels, because bridging gaps like this is a huge pain in the butt. So, if we were to unlock some of these, and we wanted to, say, put in a large advanced sawmill that required 1,000 HP, and had a very specific place that its power had to be run into. Thank you, autosave. And then, you know, stick it in a place like right here. I believe I can have the path running underneath this. Anyway. 2000 science. Yeah, okay, let's run it. Let's hit pause just in case I have to change stuff around. This is very close to being able to work. But what I do not know is if I can take this power shaft turn and hook it up to a bridge. I'm pretty sure the answer to that question is no, because it has the thing on the outside. But what we can do, and since this is already looking like it's going to be a viable option, I'm going to take this out. This is going to stay. This upward power shaft is going to stay where it is. I have to figure out what kind of... Okay, I'm going to put in a walkway here. Why am I whispering? There's no need to be whispering. 4 span? That was not quite right. Alright, this is such a kludgy solution to this. I don't blame you if you get irritated watching me do this, but this setup here, with the help of a upward T intersection, because I think this is the only... Wait, I've got universals. I don't need to be worried about this. Universal. And universal here. But I'm going to have to build this back. Let's do downward here. Let's pause this. Let's have them come in and build this, this, and this first. Let's make that a slightly lower priority. I need this one done so this one can come back around. Remember, Waterbeavers has this very specific place where the stuff has to go in or else it's not going to work. Vanilla game, this would not have even remotely been a problem. But that downward power shaft there is then going to have to be coupled with... I guess I could probably just be building adaptive horizontals for all this, but... Nah. We'll do this. So this one will now go in. And then what I'm going to have to do here, the easiest way to do this is just 2 universals on top of each other. I'm sure there's another way that would have been slightly cheaper materials-wise, but honestly, I don't care. I just want it to work, and I want it to not be completely stupid. Mostly stupid, yeah, alright, that's fine. Completely stupid, no, we can do better than that. So now this power shaft turn here, is probably, again, a slightly better way to do this. But that is not going to be how we do things here. I think last time I had this mod, I tried to stack these, and I ran into problems. Because how are you going to get in the door? But they do technically stack. And just to show you that you can't do this, let's bring in, again, I'll pause just for the sake of my own sanity. Yeah, there's no, you can't build anything in front of this. So, before you think, oh, hey, that would be a cool idea, why don't you do that? It doesn't work. That's just the way it is. So, for that reason, I will not feel bad about putting in a downward power shaft instead of a bunch of verticals going up here. And the 3 inputs do not mean that all 3 of them have to be plugged in for it to work. That's just flexibility, and it also allows you to have this be an in and an out for the same power network. And it also ends up, you know, giving you kind of hilarious this, depending on how this is set up. Now this is looking okay. I think they can build both of these from underneath. Going to be very interested to see what they cook up for that one. But at any rate, advanced sawmill for right now is going to be most appropriately used. Let's take a look at the recipe actually before I say something dumb. This is going to make a lot of sawdust either way, so we're going to need to either have more storage for sawdust or start burning more of it, because we're not really going through a ton of it right now. And if this can run uninterrupted, which it's going to run out of large logs at some point, if it can run uninterrupted, then we don't need to have other stuff making sawdust. I'm not going to try to bother automating this because honestly it's going to take way more time than it's worth. But our immediate need is going to be for, I believe, logs. We are going to want giant half logs when we get into all these other things, but for right now I'm going to set it to regular logs. And that's going to help us out the most. I do like now that the crude recipes actually detract science. It's like it's making your beavers dumber to do it the wrong way. Thought that was funny. Let's get this connected here. And this will also... I know this is a really not fantastic way to have this routed, but it works. And sometimes that is just how it has to be. To do things in maybe not the smartest fashion. I'm actually going to run this way. Let's keep that because I might have to put storage somewhere over there. But for now, this will be okay. This spot right here will also be a decent location. Not a great one, but a decent location for us to put, say, log storage. And then also in this spot to put in, again, just because we have to have somewhere for it to go, sawdust storage. And we are going to need the giant log storage as well. That you may be tempted to stick on top of here. Remember, they can't get up there. But if you have a ladder to the side, you can actually put one on top and it's not a complete disgrace. So, you know what? No, that's not going to work because it has an animation. I wonder if it's going to let me... Okay, it's not going to let me put this off to the side. I was... oh, no, 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 no. Don't give me that. Don't let me do that. Well... This is going to be... not the most ridiculous thing I've ever done, but it's going to be up there. So, we are going to... We're going to increase capacity of our giant log storage by cantilevering off the back of the factory here. Oh, yes, friends. Oh, yes. How many times have I said that, and how concerned are you every time? That should fit, and it will. Very good. Now we've made the ugly right here, which is, you know, regrettable, but fine. And I'm going to have a storage for half logs, because we're going to need to have that. You know, not the worst thing I've ever done with one of these. If you've been around long enough, you definitely remember all sorts of horrible things I did. This is gonna, was it 1,000 HP? Yes. So we do need to have, I'll go ahead and start this one because then it's gonna actually take advantage of the full thing. Let's do that. This is working out nicely. Some people did say that they wanted me to do like one of these zipline stations here instead, but I think Good Gary is a situationally a better option for us. Okay, these are spreading. That's good news. We are still very, very low on stock for bramble flowers, but it is improving. We are not out of salt. Somehow still very low on saltpeter despite getting it really, really quick. But this is honestly looking okay. Pumpkin chips are not pumpkin chipping because, surprise, surprise, we don't have enough pumpkins. That was another thing I was going to try to fix. And so many things, you know, you get distracted. I say you, the royal you. I'm talking about myself. You get distracted really easily, and then you forget that you were doing some stuff, and then all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore. And you wonder, hey, why isn't this getting done? Or somebody leaves a comment like, hey, you said you were going to do this and you haven't done it yet. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely correct. Oh, you know, we're over an hour now. I need to check my list to make sure that I've gotten most of my stuff done. Well, we do have a mechanical drill running. We probably should have two, but we have one. Talked about the power extension mod. We did not put the wheels on the platform. Technically, we did, but we also didn't at the same time. It's the best I can do. Sue me. Please don't. I don't have any money. Dirt storage we fixed. Beavers in the second library we fixed. Planted more pumpkins. Put the 2 easy sign back in. Talked about the floodgate on the top of the hill. Okay, and this is the other thing that I guess I didn't directly address. There was a couple of other suggestions for how to handle this area. One of them was, if we were not going to do a weather station, to replace this zipline station with a seamstress lodge, which is what we did over here. No, what we did over here. And this is nice because it's making a bunch of sandals. This needs to be switched to satchels, so I'm glad I checked. But I feel like the utility of the weather station is greater than putting that, but I did want to acknowledge that suggestion, because it is, fundamentally, is a very good suggestion. Just in this specific spot didn't really work too well. They are currently building on the platform that is not on a platform, but on top of a thing that is not a platform. 756. Is this going to go higher? No, because there is some water escaping through the backside. Not all of it, but a decent bit of it. It will be fixed when we have enough dirt. We're not there yet. This will help. This is now next. Okay, we have the giant logs, we have the scaffoldings. We should have all the materials for this. Not the planks. The planks are going to take a long time. I should check on my... Don't even have any clue where these are. Is that this? Yes. Okay, 2 planks every hour. It's going to take a long time. Do I have another sawmill? I have... Well, not the advanced one. Rudimentary sawmill. Did I build 2? I cannot remember. I did. I did, and this one is over here, and it is working, I guess. That's fine. We got injured beavers, we've got sick beavers, we've got burned beavers. We got buildings that lack goods. We got nothing to do in range. We already knew about this. That's fine. It's currently a hub that's staying there until I can do something else. I feel like we should be continuing to blast this out. Oh, I have 277 explosives. Okay, boys and girls. It is time for us to do more of this. I don't know how much more of this I can really put in one episode, but... See, that's going to be 3 there. The rest of this, honestly, should just be set to 4s. Because it's not going to be a pretty thing anyway. This, they can access everything except right here. Cheapest way to accomplish this without, doing anything else completely stupid is to put a bridge there. I'm just trying to expand what we're doing within the means of my ability. Obviously, we can plant more stuff. And then as far as recovering, that whole situation is fine. It's not ideal, yeah, but it's working out well enough. This is... Okay, it's no further along than it was before. I guess this guy could probably use some help getting up here, but it might not be that big of a deal. This is still making science. We probably don't need to have it focused on science so much. I know we have our degrees. We have our bachelor's in agronomies, and we have 1 master's in metallurgy. The master's in metallurgy, of course, going to the high temperature foundry, which we can also research if we feel so inclined. But I think, and I guess I should ask you guys, I might have already asked you what you prefer, and maybe I just missed people leaving comments about it. I don't remember seeing any. But would you rather us have a GMO growing lab first with that Bachelor of Agronomy? We have 2 of those. We could build 2 of these if we wanted. Or would you rather we have a wine cellar, which turns grape juice into wine, or berry juice into also wine, or makes chestnut beer faster, or makes kimchi much faster, so on and so forth. So this could be very good when used in conjunction with some other stuff. But it just depends on what you guys think is a better priority. GMO Growing Lab is basically a cheat code for berries, which we are currently... Oh, we're actually not out. We have 634. What are we not making that isn't using those berries? Because I remember we're always out. Oh, that requires firefly juice, which we don't have. GMO Growing Lab also is much faster for mushrooms, which we are not out of. So, actually, looking at this, I think the wine cellar might be the better option. It does not have to be in any specific location. It can go wherever. But if you're going to be making wine, you obviously have to have grape juice, which is in one of the screw presses. It can make kimchi and half-fermented sake and chestnut beer just natively with whatever ingredients you have. We don't have enough chestnuts really to do this. We don't really have enough bramble flowers to do it yet. That's part of the reason why we're improving the bramble flower production. But we do have a lot of rice, and this is very quick at making half-fermented sake. Now, that can be consumed recreationally by the beavers, or it can be used to make strong alcohol in one of the distilleries, which is, yeah, this recipe right here. So every 5 hours, this would consume 50, and in the wine cellar thing, every 4 hours, this can make 110. So one of these wine cellars could actually support a pretty decent amount of strong alcohol production if we felt so inclined. Strong alcohol, of course, is a component in a whole bunch of different stuff. So that's probably what I'm leaning toward doing with the Bachelor's in Agronomy, is doing maybe a pair of wine cellars. We can always make more degrees. No, we cannot duplicate them. They have to be earned. Clockwork Kitchen is another thing we should maybe consider getting into, but that's going to be a long time because of nuclear waste. Anyway, we're at the part of this mod now where we start to get into the truly ridiculous stuff that makes you think, wait, this is Timberborn? Like, yes, it is. Waterbeavers have so many cool things. But that's going to have to be something we get into at a later point in time. Let's come back and check on this. Yeah, it's going well enough. And this is a very slowly climbing number, but it is climbing. This is still doing decently well. We have enough iron at the moment. We're going to build another drill for iron. But we can't until this is all finished. The dirt, I believe, is all going into... yeah, it's all going into this just as soon as it gets produced. But now we have a problem where we are not using enough coal. Oh, I forgot we have the goods consumption mod. Who is consuming coal, and what can we do to have them increase their output? 5 buildings are consuming coal. Forge, can't read. Handicrafters Lodge, and 2 primitive ironworks. I think probably the issue with this is the storage for the outputs is full. The workshop, oh, the workshop's not prioritized, but it's got 8 employees. Is that really maybe it should be. Well, let's just try that. Because I know I'm not full on metal storage. I'm actually kind of close. That seems to be doing okay. I've got this one making drill bits. We really should never be running out of drill bits, because that causes all sorts of problems. K for kaboom. So many Ks, so many kabooms. Oh, did I not click this one? It's fine. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit through a whole episode of this junk again. I just wanted to get this something done here. We'll make these quadruples because it's basically free dynamite. And then I do want to continue having this blasted back because obviously more chestnuts is more chestnuts. I don't know that I want to mess too much with this. We'll see what happens. Yeah, we already looked at that. Pumping is still looking fine. I really need to deepen this, but I wanted it to be a slightly better setup. The beaver washing machine probably can go somewhere else. I would maybe want to, maybe not right now, but I would want to put that in a maybe dedicated pool with a Lido. That's under irrigation, yes. Lido and a fluid dump so that I don't have to worry about this. And that would also, if we moved this, free up other space for us to put even more pumps, should we be able to have additional water come through here. Remember that we still have to get over here and have a whole diversion set up, and that's a whole thing. But if you're wondering, is there going to be any possibility of getting any more water out? Well, unless it has changed. Yes, the Abyssal Nuclear Power Plant water outflow actually has a pretty decent output. So if you have an Abyssal Nuclear Reactor, which is essentially the capstone technology in the game, you can put one of these things on the top of it, and that hooks up, if you look at the design, it hooks up exactly to these new things we haven't played with in this playthrough yet. I can never find where they are. The aqueducts. They have the same geometry. So that's something we can, look forward to. There is a underground ruin thing there. There's an underground ruin thing here, and What is most likely going to be what happens is this one here. When we have the ability to get into it, which, you know what? Not a bad idea to check. 2,500 science. Once we can start sawing the... I saw this boat in half. What an incredible product. Now I can't remember. Okay. I saw this giant log in half. When we can do that, have 16 of those, we can make an elevator to the abyss. And we also have to have the horrifying firefly juice, which I can't remember where that is. If that is in science? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is horrifying. It consumes human flesh, bad water, and larvae. Chance of firefly death. Yes, do not try to pet the giant firefly. It will consume you. Insect larvae have to be acquired via the balloons, and I cannot, off the top of my head, remember which balloon it is. It's not that one, and that's not a balloon. That's not a balloon. That's a scouting balloon. Who? That's not the right one. Who has the insect larvae? It is the leaf coats. Of course it is. Probably be seeing more of those guys very, very soon. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But if we feed the leaf coats books, they will feed us insect larvae back in return. So we probably want to get one of these balloons going. Is this enough? No, that's a zip line. I don't... No, that's not the right height. I think there maybe is a circumstance in which a zip line would fit through here, but I don't think I want to play with that. I have a full storage of scouting balloons. I have 13 balloons. Are we still making balloons? We don't need to still be making balloons. No, we're not. I don't remember. I don't want to go look for it. But point being, I think we can safely say goodbye to the scouting balloon for now. Yeah, I'm not going to need one of those for a while. So I do recognize that that is maybe not ideal to do this way, but yeah, it's going to be fine. 200 science. Connect, please, and thank you. That, come on. Oh, I remember having a horrible time trying to get this to work here. Does it have to go through this building? One of these days, it's going to let me do this and not be a huge pain in the butt. I feel like it has to. I saw something. There it goes. Now, okay. So I'm going to duplicate this scroll display and put in somewhere. Can I? Oh, I can put these underneath here. Why haven't I been doing that? Well, anyway, because we want to pick up the extra sky exploration and stick it in there. And then we want this. Click. Thank you. Larvae time. And maybe we'll mess with the firefly at some other point in the future. But I want to go ahead and get this started. And I don't know that we have books. Oh, I do have 5 books. Okay, well, we need to be making more... No, stop that. We need to be making more books. So that's going to go there. Things are looking okay. Is this... Not one iota of progress, really? Oh, it's paused. All right. Well, there's your sign. What am I supposed to be doing? Oh, that's right. We're blowing stuff up. Okay, so that's looking good. We've got double here, single here. And then before we have any other issues, I will chestnut tree all of this. The forester that is here, that's an irrigation launch. This guy can plant, looks like almost all of this. And we will, of course, continue doing what we've been doing. You already know what I was going to tell you, so I do not need to say it. But we'll get it done. How close are we? Not even a little bit. So I have not solved the problem of the coal storage. We cannot build a gigantuan storage pile because we do not have the glass. We do not have the glass because we do not have the high temperature foundry. We don't have the high temperature foundry because I haven't built it. Even though we have the degree to do it, we don't have the planks to do it. We can import that, the glass, if we trade with... who's got the glass? Don't tell me it's one we've already... No, no one's got the glass. It's solar panels. Why did I... Solar cells. Why did I think it was glass? Okay. Well, you know, I guess that's fine because the glass is one of those core things you do have to make yourself. Takes 500 HP. Let's forget how big this thing is. It has a single input on the right side. And depending on how we wanted to, you know, build this, I could maybe stick it up here, but I'd have to build a little bit of a stand for it. I don't think it cares if it goes on a platform or not. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about a having to go on the ground. It is a levee, some parts of it, but I don't really care about that too much. Yeah, see, that's... Oh, come on. That's another good reason to use this effectively. Not that I'm doing a good job of that. So this might have to be where that ends up going at some point in the future. We are unfortunately not there yet. 2 large water wheels are currently supplying in a temperate cycle. Enough power for this and for this thing when it is eventually finished. Making progress. Well, being high score 39 is objectively not very good for Waterbeavers. For a regular game, I guess it's pretty decent, but... Okay, they're waiting on that. You know, I think this is probably a decent spot to stop for today. We did get the mechanical drill for coal going, but I'm going to have to, even if this isn't a great place for it to go, I have to have storage. I have to have storage for coal. So, I'm not going to put it here because that's where we're about to build something in that spot. But I'm not going to be afraid of... Actually, no, I need to be afraid of that. I should not be afraid of just stacking a bunch of storage up here. We can always tear it down. It's very cheap. Can be removed. And you know what? We're not cavemen. We have technology. I can just do this. So now what I have to do to get this hooked up is double platform path and then single platform path ladder, which can go here and path on that. So that'll give us, what is this, 180 each? You can do the math. It'll give us enough to keep this thing running for a little bit of time. Shouldn't be too bad for them to build this, even though they have to have logs, which they're currently using to build this. I'll make that a lower priority construction site. Yeah, I think logically, not always think logically, but I think, logically this is going to have to be the spot where I end today's episode. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all of your feedback, your helpful advice, your ideas, and your presence. And, of course, the Beard Boosters who subsidize the whole thing with a lot of stuff going on outside of YouTube that I really, really, really need to dedicate time to. Those folks keeping things afloat, so to speak, so I don't have to, you know, run myself ragged, burning the candle at 3 ends or whatever to try and put out a ton of videos every single day. We can go back to 4 to 5 a week and, you know, just do what we have to do. And not worry quite so much about YouTube saying, oh, I don't want to play with you anymore. And just have the fun that we want to have without quite as much worry about, you know, keeping things rolling on this end. So I'm always going to appreciate those folks, and I'm always going to appreciate you, even if you're not on that list. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun. We'll see you back again tomorrow for, I think it's tomorrow, for more of the Timberpunk 2 playthrough. And then maybe soon some Leaf Coats action. But that's all I got for this one. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.